many of you from Idaho. This is the best state ever.
Yeah!
Full of independent thinking people. Yes, with the imagination and courage to believe that change is possible. And seeing all the hard work that's going on at all the phone banks and everywhere, you are just working so hard, all of you. And change is hard. The kind of change we're talking about is so hard. I mean, people gave their lives to get unions. People gave their lives to integrate the South. When we were trying to get the vote, nobody said, oh, you know, we haven't had it for so long, it's going to be so hard, let's not try. I mean, really, we can do this. Talking about taking on a machine that is massive. And you are the machine. He's right, you have become the machine, and we're talking about being up against, you know, all kinds of special interests and candidates who have taken money from Wall Street and fracking and Monsanto we have a candidate whose only special interest is you.
Fuck yeah!
Just us. We are his one issue. Us. We are in a moment of history now that is very special. Very, very special. This is not just another election. This is a movement. This is a revolution. That you understand that it is not going to happen again in our lifetime because of Citizen United and the way everything is rigged. There is no way we are going to get a candidate again that is not owned, that has not given his soul. And Bernie Sanders is someone who does the right thing when it's necessary, not when it's convenient, needs. That is what we are ready for. That is what you are ready for. I look out and I can see that you know you deserve what he's talking about. And everyone here has to show up with a few people when you caucus. I know caucusing, I've been to a few of them, and it can get really crazy. And you have to be ready for that. All your training is very important. But talk to people and explain to them that this moment is not going to come again. And that's why I'm so happy to be here with you. I'm going back to New York, and we're going to all be watching what you do in this state. I'm praying for you to have the courage and the fortitude and the hard work to pull this off. I know you can. And now I am so proud to be able to give you Senator Bernie Sanders.
begin by thanking all of you. What an enormous crowd here in Boise. Thank you so much. You know, I thought I walked into the wrong state. I was told that Idaho was a conservative state.
Yeah! Fuck no, we're not!
Let me thank Chelsea Gayowen, Helen Strain, and somebody I have known for a very long time, Susan Sarandon.
Yeah!
And what I love about Susan is not only that she is one of America's great actresses, but unlike many others in Hollywood, she has used her celebrity status over the years to fight for social, economic, and environmental justice.
Yeah!
And let me begin by saying something that may surprise you, and that I think that our country is not quite as politically divided as the media often makes out. Let me give you an example of what I mean. Whether you are a progressive, as I am, whether you are a conservative, as many people in Idaho are, I think there are relatively few people who think that American democracy is about billionaires buying elections. My guess is that in Idaho or Vermont, what people mean when they talk about democracy is one person, one vote, not super PACs. And I think that almost all of us, regardless of our political beliefs, understand that when you have a handful of billionaires like the Koch brothers and Sheldon Adelson and a few others spending hundreds of millions of dollars to elect candidates who represent the wealthy and the powerful, I think we can all agree that is not democracy, that is oligarchy.
Yeah!
To me, what democracy means is you have a vote, and you have a vote, and you have a vote. If you want to vote for me, great. If you want to vote against me, that's okay too. But what democracy is not about is when a handful of billionaires can control the political process in this country. And that is why, together, we are going to overturn Citizens United. I have said it before, and I will say it again. No justice nominated by me to the Supreme Court will get that position unless that candidate is loud and clear in saying they will vote to overturn Citizens United. Now, sadly, the United States has today one of the lowest voter turnouts of any major country on earth. And together, we're going to change that, because I think that in this great country, we should have one of the highest voter turnouts.
Yeah!
And when you talk about democracy and involving people in the political process, whether they're poor or middle class or rich, getting people involved, it stuns me that we have Republican governors who are working overtime to suppress the vote.
Boo! Boo!
To literally make it harder for poor people or people of color or young people or old people to participate in our political process. For elected president, we're going to take those governors on, we're going to take their voter suppression on. And I say to those governors, if you don't have the guts to participate in free and fair elections, get out of politics, get out of politics.
Yeah! Get out of here!
This country to have a vibrant democracy. I want people to be able to run for office, no matter what their views are, without having to beg wealthy people and corporations for contributions. I want everybody in this country, 18 years of age or older, to have the right to vote. End of discussion.
Yeah! Let us vote!
But when we talk about America and what's going on in our country today, it is not just a corrupt campaign finance system which is undermining American democracy. That is a very important issue, but it's not the only one. Today in America, we also have a rigged economy.
Yeah!
What that means is we have more wealth and income inequality than almost any major country on earth, and it is worse today than at any time in America since 1928.
Boo! That's no good.
Now, you're not going to hear a lot of this on corporate media and the television or the newspapers, but here are the facts. Today in America, the top 1/10 of 1%, not 1%, 1/10 of 1% now owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. Got that?
Boo!
Over the last 30 years, there has been a massive transfer of wealth from the middle class to the top 1/10 of 1%. In America today, the wealthiest 20 people own more wealth than the bottom 150 million Americans, half of the American people. Now, when we talk about a rigged economy, let me give you a very concrete example of what that means. Anybody here know which family is the wealthiest family in America? It's a smart group of people, all right. It's the Walton family who owns Walmart. They are the wealthiest family in America. Now, it turns out that the Walton family pays wages to their Walmart employees that are so low that many of their workers are forced to go on Medicaid, food stamps, and subsidized housing. Who pays for the food stamps and the Medicaid? You do.
Yeah.
So this is what a rigged economy is about. A rigged economy is about working people paying higher taxes to subsidize the business of the wealthiest family in America. That is nuts.
Stupid Walmart!
So I say to the Walton family, get off of welfare, pay your workers,
Yeah!
But it is not only inequality in wealth, it is inequality in income. It is what is happening in our economy every day. Here are the facts. The good news is, thanks to President Obama, today our economy is far, far stronger than it was 7.5 years ago.
Yeah!
Now, Biden understand that we have to be very sympathetic. Many of our Republican friends suffer from a very serious mental health issue called amnesia.
Yeah, they do.
We don't want to be hard on them, but they just have a hard time remembering where the economy was when President Bush left office. Now, I don't think it will help too much with them. I think their amnesia is so strong that nothing that I can say will change their world reality. But it is important to note that when President Bush left office in January 2009, we were hemorrhaging 800,000 jobs a month. 800,000 jobs a month. Now, many Republicans say, well, you know, we're only growing the economy by 250,000 jobs a month. Not enough. Well, they're right. I would like to see more. But you know what? Gaining 250,000 jobs a month, a hell of a lot better than losing 800,000.
Yeah.
Now, many of my Republican friends are very concerned about the deficit, which is in fact a very serious issue, a national debt, very serious issue. But what they seem to is that when George W. Bush left office, we had a $1.4 trillion deficit, the largest in the history of the United States of America. And over the last 7.5 years, we have cut that deficit very significantly.
Yeah, we have.
Now, many of my Republican colleagues were so busy fighting for the deregulation of Wall Street, and in fairness, they were not alone, there were Democrats there as well, that they seem to have forgotten that by the end of Bush's tenure, as a result of deregulation, the entire world's financial system was on the verge of collapse. Economists were literally worried that you would put your credit card into an ATM machine and nothing would come out. The world's financial system was on the verge of collapse when Bush left office. Needless today it is much, much stronger.
Yeah.
So I say to my Republican friends, look, fair is fair. You want to criticize Obama, you want to criticize Bernie Sanders, that's fine. But don't forget how far we have come economically in the last 7.5 years.
Yeah.
But having said that, let me tell you something else which is true. And that is why we have made progress over the last 7.5 years. The truth is that for 30 or 40 years, before many of you were born, what we have been seeing is a decline in the American middle class. And that is a sad truth. That took place under Republican administrations. It took place under Democratic administrations. That is a fact. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that everybody here knows that in the last 20 years there has been an explosion of technology. We got robotics, we got all kinds of computers, we have cell phones. All of that means that every worker here is likely far more productive, producing more than a worker who had a similar job 20 or 30 years ago. Now, if you are producing more, you would think that one of two things happens. Either you're making more money or you're working fewer hours. The truth is, unfortunately and tragically, the opposite is what's going on.
Yeah.
Millions of Americans today, despite the growth of technology, are working longer hours for lower wages.
Yeah. Yeah. That is
In my
boo.
state of Vermont, and I expect here in Idaho, you have folks who are working not one job, but 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 3 jobs, trying to cobble together, 3 jobs, trying to cobble together enough income and health care to take care of your families. So what you got, and I see this all over the country, you got mom working hard, you got dad working hard, you got kids working hard, and yet 58% of all new income generated today is going to the top 1%. That's a rigged economy. You want a radical idea?
Yeah.
Here is a radical idea. Together, we are going to create an economy that works for all of us, not just the 1%.
Fuck you, 1%.
What our campaign is about is something very radical, and that is telling the truth to the American people. And whether it is in our own personal lives, or whether it is politically or socially, the truth is not always pleasant. It's not something that we are happy to hear, but what is also right is you cannot go forward unless we deal with the real issues, with the truth of America. And the truth today is a corrupt campaign finance system. The truth is a rigged economy where most of us work longer hours for lower wages. Almost all new income and wealth goes to the top 1%. And here is another unpleasant truth that we have to deal with. That in this great country of ours, we have more people in jail than any other country on earth. We have a broken criminal justice system.
Yeah, we do.
All of you know, just as an example, China, 4 times our size, China is a communist authoritarian country that doesn't look very well on dissent. We have more people in jail than China does. Now what does that mean? It means, for a start, that we have to recognize why people end up in jail. One of the reasons is that we have a horrendously high rate of youth unemployment. Nationally, for white kids between 17 and 20 who graduated high school, real unemployment 33%. For Latino kids, 36%. For African American kids, 51%.
Jesus.
In my view, we should be investing for our young people in education.
Yeah!
Making sure our kids stay in school or have decent jobs, that's the investment, not jails and incarceration. And in terms of criminal justice, national, we have got to take a look at a lot of local police departments. We are tired of seeing unarmed people, often African Americans, shot by the police.
Yeah!
Now all right, we need a medical person here. All right, take a break for a second. We have a medical, okay. Let's take a break for a second. All right? Good, okay, all right. He's good, okay, well, he's been taken care of. Sometimes when
Praise the
people are
Lord.
standing for too long and they get dehydrated, they have a problem, but I think the gentleman is fine.
Yeah!
What the campaign is about is thinking outside of the box and not accepting the status quo as something that has to exist. So in other words, we as a nation, this is the wealthiest nation in the history of the world, we should not be having more people in jail. 2.2 million people. We are spending $80 billion a year locking people up. You know what? It is a better investment to send a kid to the University of Idaho than to jail.